friends, welcome back to my channel, and for today's vlog it is episode 3 of what I have learned on my journey in becoming a professional artist. And today, as you can see, we're talking about graphite. I know I said in episode 2 that I use a lot of graphite to practice with, and so I'm more comfortable with graphite than I am with charcoals or pastels. And I just want to share with you what I've learned using graphite for the year and a half about that I've started on my art journey. So come along with me. Okay, so the book you see me here have open in front of me is actually by Alfonso Dunn. It's pen and ink drawing, a simple guide. And what I appreciate about how Alfonso has this book is it is such an easy read. It is so easy to follow. It's kind of like having a one-on-one art teacher with you. I enjoy it. I basically have had it for some time, but I didn't really started to look at it until a couple of days ago. And because it's such an easy read, I'm already on chapter 4. I'm already practicing my textures. And if you've seen my art improved, especially in the past couple of weeks when I started reading this book, it is partly thanks to this book, because it breaks it down for you, so it makes it simple. Literally, it's a simple guide. It breaks it down for you and it's digestible. Okay, so now let's talk about graphite. I have 3 groups of graphite open in front of me, and it's in reality it's a little more than 3 groups, but I group them into 3. And this is one group here, even though they're different companies. Here it's actually one group of graphite, and then here I have a second group of graphite, and finally there's a third group of graphite on my far left. Now the reason this is one big group of graphite is because it is my practice graphite. As you can see, they're of different lengths. And the reason for that is because these are the pencils I practice with. Except for these 3 pencils, these ones here, I can't say that I use them. I saw them at my local stationery and art supply store, and I wanted to be curious about them because I've heard a lot about these, not these pencils, but these type of graphites, and I haven't used them as yet. But for these others, I have used these a whole ton. As you can obviously see, they're well used. And these are mostly the basic graphite. Yes, basic. That word comes back again. And again, it is a basic graphite. Basic is actually a product that is very popular in Belize, and they do make a lot of stationaries, and it's actually very affordable, so it is not uncommon to see people in my country use basic products. And basic also, besides the basic sketchbook, they also make basic graphite. And this is a number 8. I have 2 number 8s, 2 number 7s, a number 6, and a number 2B. Now the reason why I have 2 number 8s and number 7s is because I actually had 2 packs of this graphite. And when I took an art workshop a few months ago, was it a few months ago? Yeah, it was a few months ago. Wow. When I took an art workshop a few months ago, there was one of my fellow colleagues that was in the workshop, and she, just like me, was starting out on an art journey. And so I donated some of my basic graphites to her, and because I had 2 packs, so I didn't really need 2 packs. So some of these I would have donated to her, and I basically only kept the ones that I know I will use the most of, and those are the 8Bs, the 7Bs. I think I gave her one of the 6Bs, the 4Bs, and I gave her some of the 3B and an HB pencil, so she can have a good range and something to start out from. Now these 3 pencils are they're actually from Stabilo, and they're the Othello pencils. And these are actually H pencil. There's a 2H, a 3H, and a 4H here. and hence the reason why I barely use it, because as you notice, the ones that I chose to keep was 4B, 6B, 2 7Bs, and 2 8Bs. So obviously I use mostly darker leads, and so I wanted to try lighter leads, and I have yet to use these, and I know I should try to use these someday, but I'll master them someday. So they're still just hanging around in my collection waiting for me to use them. I remember saying not all graphites are created equal, and the reason why I said that is because these basic graphites here, they are different from the Milan graphite pencil that I have here, and they're also different from the stud mark graphite pencil that I have here. And the reason for that is, even though it is very good, it is excellent. Well, this is the Derwent, is excellent, but when you do it for a longer illustration, instead of just creating short lines, when you're actually imposing the color, putting in the color, they tend to be a little scratchy. Well, it has a scratchy feel to it. It's not like it scratches the paper or anything, it really doesn't do that, but it just have this scratchy feel to it, and it doesn't feel smooth. The Milan graphite pencil, I think I only used this once, and I used this in a previous video, and I had no problem with it. It gives me very light strokes. It didn't feel scratchy at all, so I actually enjoyed working with this pencil. And then I have this stud mark here, and again, very smooth. It doesn't feel scratchy at all, and I'm able to get good strokes with it. This is not a review. This is just to say that when you're working with a particular medium like these graphite, these are mediums, you really need to know what you like in them. And working with these, this is one big group again, working with these cheaper art products gave me a greater appreciation for this graphite pencil that I have here. Now this is the Pointer, the Lapis de Bujo, and I don't know why I keep saying Lapis de Bujo, because Bujo just means draw. But this graphite pencil set here is the graphite pencil set that when I go, like when I do workshops or when I go out with friends and I do artwork with them, I will take this with me because it comes in its own carrying case. It has a variety of sizes. And one of the advice, I think the advice I should give is when you work with graphite, first I started out with these basic graphites. I learned what I love when it came to these pencils, and I learned that I enjoy a darker lead. So start cheap. If you have to get your graphite pencils in a pack, get them in a pack, and you learn what you like with them. I learned I like darker pencils, so I will more be favored towards darker leads. In fact, when I do practice pieces in my sketchbook here, I generally use a 6B to draw it. I rarely use HB, I rarely use 2B. I used to use 2B a lot, and one day I just picked up a 6B by mistake and I start drawing with it, and I started with a very light touch, and since then I never go back. You know, it's always the 6B I picked up to draw. But I will, and I wish I learned that before I bought this pack of graphite pencil, but it does come in handy because, like I said, when I go to art workshops, because this comes in a metal tin and it's easily carryable, it's easy for me to carry, and it has a variety of lead sizes, so I could do contouring, shading very easily with this. So basically I have two sets of graphite pencils that I practice with, that when I'm just doing simple practice exercises like these stuff here on the top, when I'm reading through my book and I'm practicing how to do shading of texture, I can use these without feeling that I'm wasting a pencil, without feeling too intimidated, because it's such a fine art pencil and it's such an exclusive pencil. That sense of overwhelmness is not on me when I'm using these pencils here versus when I'm using these pencils here, because even though this is also a very, very affordable brand in my country, you do have the sense of elegance when it comes to these, because these comes in a metal tin versus this that came in a cardboard box. So You know, there is a sense of elegance when you feel like, oh, you don't want to use this because, you know, you're all in awe about this. So you do tend to, the freedom to practice art is better when I use cheaper art products. Versus, now these pencils here, I tend to use more sparingly. I honestly use these more sparingly. Like after I'm finished sketching and practice sketching and making all my mistakes, and I really want to go in and do a fine art piece, then I'll pull these pencils out. Now these two pencils I got in a previous scroller box. I think these came in scroller boxes. This is the Caring Dash Edelweiss, I guess, and the Faber-Castell Destin 2000. They're both HB pencils. And both of these came in previous scroller box. I use these sparingly. And these two pencils here I got at a pretty affordable price. Amazingly, I'm always hunting AliExpress for sale, believe it or not. These are the Faber-Castell 900 pencils, and I got these in a 5B and in 8B pencil because, like I said, I learned that I like darker lead. And I actually use these sparingly. It's not like I use these all the time to practice with because, you know, these are professional grade pencils. And then I have this one here, which is the Prismacolor Ebony Jet Black Smooth Pencil. And again, these pencils I use sparingly because they're professional grade pencils. And it, you know, I don't want to waste the lead. So I try not to use these as much as I use these. There's a freedom in using these. You know, you can use these as much as you like. You don't feel like you're wasting the pencil. It doesn't feel like it's costing you money's going down the drain. You know, you feel freedom when you're using these cheaper stuff, especially when you're doing practicing. Now when it's time to go in and render a professional looking piece, then I'll pull out these. When I think I know what I'm doing and I'm ready to execute it, then I'll pull out these to use. The theme that is coming out of these episodes is learn what you like. Just learn what you like. I bought the pack of basic graphite pencils, and I learned that I like darker leads. So when I was ready to invest in more professional grade leads, I bought darker leads because that's what I like. Now if I would have gotten a 4H lead in Faber-Castell, I probably wouldn't appreciate it as much as I would a 8B or a 5B or a 6B because I learned that I like darker leads. And I know there's a lot of people out there who like to say buy the best thing first so that when you use cheap stuff, you know what good stuff felt like. And I am actually saying the opposite. Buy the cheap stuff first. There is a freedom, you know, you get when you're using cheaper art supply. You know, you don't feel like you're wasting it. You don't want to guard it too much because it, you know that it didn't cost you much. And you feel more free to express yourself, to do experiments, to see how to find your own niche in art. And before I blabber too much, because I think I've been blabbering enough, I will end this video here. Look out for another session with me. I know there's a lot of things that I have learned, and I have no problem passing that out. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. As you can see, like I said, I'm going along. I enjoy my art journey and I love taking other people with me. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.